Welcome to Elevate. I'm here with Lisa Moore today. Lisa Moore is the regional developer and multi-unit franchisee in the Colorado market, northern Colorado. And we're so happy to have you here today. Lisa is a multi award winner of several awards at several conventions. And just tell us a little bit about actually, Massage Heights, how many stores you own, which stores they are, and what your market is, so that we're more specific.
I have 3 locations. I have the Loveland, Colorado, which is the Centera. I have the Front Range Village, which is in Fort Collins, and I have the Highlands Ranch. I'm partners with Shannon and Jason.
Yes. And what awards have you won? The big ones, because I know that there were a lot of them.
The members, I think we won the 2,500
club, yeah.
Club, the $2 million award,
Yes.
$2 million, whatever you want to call that,
Yes,
revenue.
yes.
The next one's for Emily, retreat director. I think those were the bigger ones.
Yeah, and franchisee of the year.
Oh my gosh, franchisee of the year. I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you.
That's okay. That's a pretty big one. They're all great
Thank you.
awards. But so I think that's relevant to the reason for the conversation today. I know a lot of people seek out your help. Mm-hmm. You were just telling me about somebody that you were helping just this week prior to flying in, and I know you get a lot of those phone calls and requests. And so I know they're grateful, and we're grateful for that as well. So we thought that we'd try to capture as much of those questions and things that people are asking you all the time in the podcasts over the next today, and we'll have several series of the podcast. But maybe that will be helpful to more people and mitigate some of the time.
Well, I love helping, so ask away.
I know,
and hopefully I'll have the answers.
That sounds good. Okay, so just before we get started into operations questions, just give us a really brief background. What did you do before Massage Heights?
I actually was, and still am, currently a real estate agent. So my 23rd year, and I had sold probably over 600 homes up until that 17th year. And that's kind of, and then being a mom of my kids who were active in sports, gymnasts and hockey and baseball.
All of those things. How do you feel like your experience as a real estate agent has applied to your role within Massage Heights?
I feel like the number one was my personality was really needed. I feel like I never really employed employees until Massage Heights, but I had grown so much when I started real estate that I was able to bring that into my Massage Heights when I opened my first one 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think your personality for sure has a lot to do with your success. You're such a people person, and that translates not in just to your interactions with the customers that you serve, but also your employees.
Right.
And they love you, and I know you've got a lot of people that have been with you for a long time, and there's a reason for that, and we can get into that too. What is your favorite Massage Heights value and why? Loyal, authentic, passionate, or diligent?
It's loyal.
Yeah.
I'm a loyal person, and my teams, because of that, they're loyal back to me, and it's just that's always been my thought process of, if I'm loyal, they'll be loyal back. And not everybody's going to be loyal to me, but I will give 100% of my loyalty to everyone.
Yeah.
It's just important to me.
Yep. Well, you have certainly shown that within our system as well. And I can see that as why that's your favorite one. Do you remember the first time you ever had a massage?
I was actually 19 years old, and it was my sister's fiance. He was finishing massage school, and I had to be one of his practicals. So that was actually my first one, and it was from a male, and it never bothered me. So it's funny to see all these years later with people who aren't comfortable with male therapists when that was my first one at 19.
So what was your first encounter with Massage Heights?
Okay, for everybody that knows me, knows the story. I had gone into a Massage Envy in Aurora, and I was always looking for massages. So my husband would always get me Valentine's our anniversary, birthdays, I always receive massages. I went into the Massage Envy. I didn't even know that Massage Envy existed. This is 11 years ago. And when I came out of my massage, which was a strange massage, I came out and they asked me if I wanted to buy a program. And I said, no, I want to buy one of these. And so I reached out to their developer and showed him my location. And that's when he decided, oh, I have someone. And so I tied up the lease and I started searching for another brand. And I found you. I flew out the same morning that I met you. I signed on the dotted line. I wrote your brother a check and I flew back and that was it.
It's a great story. That's the short version of it. But that was, I remember.
And I loved you guys because you were a family and it was just really, I'm really happy that that door closed and this one opened.
Yeah, we are too.
Yes.
I remember that day like it was yesterday. Yes. It doesn't seem very long ago.
I know.
At all. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
You were really worried because of my husband. Are you going to talk to your husband? I said, in plenty of time, not right now. Let me just get this going.
Yeah. Yes, I remember. I also thought, gosh, wow, she's got, some guts.
My drive, yes.
Yeah,
I was driven and I didn't have everything in place when I opened it and I kind of suffered a little bit, but now moving forward, that's my biggest pleasure is helping people when they ask me, how did you do it? How did you get started? And I'm able to tell them on my second retreat and how successful, because I made this one successful from being the only one in Colorado.
Yeah.
When I opened those doors, that's something that I'm sure you'll get into and ask me questions about later. But that's, I think, why I work so hard to make my Centera location. It's not really as much as a location as just me being so involved with my team.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that.
And I wouldn't change it.
I know that that's a big deal. And everybody says culture really eats strategy for breakfast, right?
Yes.
That's what they say. And so what you've created with that team is it's very apparent in the success that you're having. So first encounter with Massage Heights. So other than you coming to San Antonio and you liking us and those things, which is awesome, what actually attracted you to the business model? What about the model is it that you think makes it a great business?
The first impression that I had with the Massage Envy at that point was being able to walk into a location and being able to get in for a massage. I literally waited 20 minutes. And that's something that I hadn't experienced. I always have to make appointments weeks in advance. Mm-hmm. And when this model came in, it was something that I felt like I wanted. I opened Massage Heights because I just wanted to get in for massages whenever I needed them. Mm-hmm. And that was really what I wanted. That's what attracted me is the time, the hours, the availability, the amount of therapists. It's in our busiest times are when people aren't working. It's after work. It's nights and weekends. And so I just fell in love with that model. That was my first
So the convenience
impression.
Aspect
Convenience.
of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then what do you like about the model as you know it today as it relates to the business aspect of it and the financial aspect of it?
You know what I love the most is there's other brands that don't have the membership model, so you don't have those residuals coming in every month and people who just want to go with, let's just not have memberships. Well, that's what we've built. My residuals every month are incredible, and we're building that model. We're doing it with our Fort Collins location and our Highlands Ranch. Without those, I don't think we could be so successful. Yeah. You need those residuals coming in and building on those.
Absolutely.
So I'm not a believer in, let's do month to months.
Yeah.
That's not who I won't do that. Yep. But I,
Well, we won't do that.
Yeah, you know our numbers. Yeah. So. And our Fort Collins location is building. My Highlands Ranch is building. We're getting there. Yeah. And I think people today are really needing this. It's like we said, it's not a luxury anymore. It's something we all need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the what makes the business model so attractive is the membership,
yes,
it is recurring revenue, mm-hmm. And that you come in and you've already got 5,000 or 10,000 or 15 or whatever it is on the
those
book
residuals
before
booking.
you
Mm-hmm.
open the door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got Loveland is a $2 million store. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money before you ever even start the business. So when you think about natural disasters or even bad weather or what have you, you don't have to fret.
Right.
If you have to close your doors for a few days, that revenue is still coming in.
Our revenue is coming in, and And I don't know if people know, for a $2 million store, I think our revenue on just our EFTs are over $120,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's just on our EFTs. So that goes along with the building of the memberships. And if you take that away, you can't bank on what you're going to have next month.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So while we've got some testing out there as far as kind of a no committal sort of thing, at a higher price point, I think you kind of have to offer that, but the real goal is to drive them to the membership still, right?
And I understand that the people who aren't the franchisees who aren't at that point, you need to get a salesperson in there and you've got to build that membership base. I believe that if we offered to some of those, we're going to have a handful of people who don't want the commitment that will be willing to pay. We've got people that are paying, $109 for the non-member rate right now, and they're okay with that. We might be able to bring in some of those people at a lower rate, but we could offer it and try it. Like we used to have when Millennium. What was that? It was the guest.
It was like a VIP.
Yes, and we gave them a discount.
Frequent guest discount.
10% off, and we had a lot of those. We had more than what we have now because Zenoti doesn't offer that. So I think it might help, but that's not going to be my goal. We don't sell 3 months. We don't sell 6 months. We just sell 12 months. And I know we're probably cutting ourselves short, but I'm looking at my numbers, and I don't really think we are.
Then why would you say that you're cutting yourself short?
Well, I feel like at my other 2 locations where we're not top, I feel like maybe we'll run a 6-month special with a non-enrollment fee and see if we can get those numbers up, the membership base. But the Centera membership base, we're really 12 months only.
Yeah.
So those, to me, are something we're going to strive for Front Range Village and for Highlands Ranch. But to give ourselves a little bit of a kick, both locations we are over 650. Centera just hit 2 years, and Highlands Ranch has been going on for about 4 years, I believe. I came in later, and we're kind of at the same membership base.
Yep.
And so we're going to probably kick those numbers up, maybe just try to offer a 6-month.
Yeah.
If they won't do the 12-month.
Yeah.
But I'm not into the discounted 3 months and.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just telling people out there who are doing that, that's fine. But we got there with 12 months.
Right. Well, you have to think about the amount of money it takes to get a prospect in the door. You're either paying that through the real estate that you're in, or you're paying that through your traditional marketing efforts or digital marketing efforts, right? And so really honing in on that person and getting that commitment for that 12-month program is what you want to do, because that's going to drive the most revenue for you and is going to more likely keep them in the system longer, right? Where when you sell those 3-month programs, you have to resell them again, and the likeliness is you're going to lose them. So try to get the most out of every single prospect, right?
Right.
Which is
And
that longer-term program.
You're right. And I'm going to try the 6-month programs just to kind of kickstart just for the summer months, because it's a little slower, and I think that might work. But I feel like my Centera location is really just a model of what we should be doing.
Absolutely.
And we can do it. But I do understand having 2 locations that aren't top performers right now, that we need to do some things.
And try some different things.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, having multiple therapists, we have to have the therapist on staff. And my Front Range Village is, we're always hiring. My Denver location is a little bit tougher because the market's a little bit, and I know people struggle with that, and we'll probably get into that question because that's a big question for everybody. How do you hire, Lisa? But you have to have the therapist on. You can't skim your day. And like in Highlands Ranch right now, we're short 2 therapists, and we're turning people away. So I'm constantly trying to recruit. But that also goes with my revenue. So that's why I threw in that part. You have to have a therapist in order to build your revenue.
So Highlands Ranch and Front Range, you said there are about 650 members per location.
Yes.
How many therapists per location do you have? You said you're too short.
In Highlands Ranch, we're a few short. If we have 2 more full-time, which we are bringing on 2 more, and that's if you don't lose, 1 more in that process, which I know a lot of people are facing. So I want people to know that I do have all spectrums of what they're feeling. I've got the top performer, and I've got 2. My Highlands Ranch location, it's come far. When I took it over with Shannon and Jason, we were at 300 members, and we're at 650.
Yeah.
They're 4.5 years in, and 2 in 2 in Front Range Village.
Yeah.
So they're almost the same, and almost the same in revenue, because we know what we're doing,
Yes.
and we're trying to bring that into the Highlands Ranch. And it's a little tougher because I am further away. I'm an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So it's 3 hours round trip for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm on the phone with the RDs and with the therapist and every day on a daily basis, 10, 15 times a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing with Highlands Ranch because I'm not in the retreat.
Yeah. So, so you personally are on the phone with the retreat
Personally.
directors. Yeah.
Mhm.
And what are those conversations like? How do you hold them accountable to the goals that you're trying to reach?
Well, I just replaced our Highlands Ranch retreat director with my assistant retreat director, and where she just wants to make sure she's running it the way that I'm asking of them. And she really is interested and excited to talk to Emily because she can learn so much from both myself and Emily. So she's been super excited about that. Our numbers are increasing. She's a super amazing salesperson, probably the best at all 3 of my locations. She's the top. Her name is Betsy.
Wow.
And she's just super enthusiastic. She's empathetic. She's so like me. And so she just wants to learn, and she tells me every day. But our phone calls every day are making sure she's not doing something wrong when she's doing a refund. Can I refund them? She asks me before I see all these refunds being done on the daily reports when they weren't approved. So my daily questions are really, asking them, hey, are you working with these girls? I want to make sure that they're selling. It's mainly just making sure that we touch base, and she just asks every question because she wants to learn.
Yeah.
And I love that. I will answer her
Yeah.
500 times a day because she's asking questions to make herself better.
Yeah, to grow. That's great. Well, let's get into some more operationally focused questions, but around team members. Let's talk about team member retention. You have really strong team member retention, and I think I know the answer, but just tell me what you attribute to your success. What is it?
Well, I do have therapists who've been with me the whole time since I've been open. I have another strong amount of them, 8 to 9 years, and a big group of them coming to the 5th year. So Brad and I are still hands-on owners. In fact, I do a lot of work from home because our office is so small, and it gives Emily a break. But with my Centera location, I'm still, and Fort Collins, because the therapists go back and forth, I just make sure that I'm there listening to them when they have a bad day and they're having personal issues. I'm kind of their therapist too. But the first thing and foremost that I do is I walk in and I hug everybody still to this day.
That's awesome.
And even if they're not huggers, I make them hug me. And Emily was never a hugger. Now she is. She's a side hugger. But and bringing Emily in, and people ask me, how'd you find Emily? We went through 5 RDs, before we got into Emily. And we didn't even bring Emily on as an RD. We brought her back when she worked for us after high school as an assistant manager training. And, people are like, well, we've known her. So we take chances. And if everybody who knows me knows that I brought my family in, their friends in, that's kind of how we started our Centera location. And Fort Collins, we have my daughter, son's friends, girlfriends, boyfriend. It's like we trust the family, and we just kind of, it's really a family oriented, both, even my 3rd location. I just want to make sure that they know we're involved, the owners, because it makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like having the therapists that I've had, we take them boating. If they're having a day off, they're going to text me, Lisa, can I go boating? I will jump on our boat, pick them up just to take them boating.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We'll go out for drinks after if they're having a long shift and they're like, hey, you want to go out for a drink? Sure, let's go out for a drink.
Yeah.
I asked Gabe, who we brought last year, who was our top performer, and I asked him, he said, people are asking me what they like about you, Lisa, and I just tell them you're so real with us. I get down, I don't act like I'm above them. I don't behave that way. I just get down to wherever they're at that day. That's how I am that's how I portray myself. I just want to make sure that they know I'm real.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's no silver bullet. I can't talk. There's no silver bullet.
I am transparent.
Yeah, it is all the little things that you're doing, and it's the work that you put into the relationships is what it is. So, is there anything that though that could be helpful to other franchisees as it relates to retention or recruitment as it relates to compensation?
So to recruit, I feel like, and I'm as busy as I might seem, I will reach out to every single therapist that I find on Indeed. I reach out to them. And I believe Teresa, I think she had the same story too. We're the first contact, and we let them know that we're the owner. They feel so comfortable talking to me. Highlands Ranch, I do all phone because I can't make it up there. Then the next step is getting them to my RD, who they end up falling in love with. And that's how we hire, is it's Indeed. I am constantly on Indeed. I don't put ads up. I just reach out to them, and I'm on there 10 times a day. So I'm recruiting every day for all locations.
Every
You
day.
can't think that you have enough, because as soon as you think, in Centera, we have maybe 48 therapists, and we're still probably 10 short. If we had 10 more, and for the weekends especially, oh my gosh, we would.
$3 million store.
Yeah. And our membership base, we're at almost 2,700. We're trying to hit 3,000 this year, but we have to. People ask me, how do you have so many members? It's because of my retention with my therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's building that culture. And I think that was your question, is how do you do that? Compensation pay. When I'm talking to a therapist, Highlands Ranch, we pay them higher because their cost of living is incredibly higher from Northern Colorado. But how I hire them is I don't do, I'm starting you at 17. No, I do a range, 19 to 25. You will, that is so important. And there was a girl I talked to yesterday from Highlands Ranch. Well, what do you pay? I said, we pay the best. We are probably the highest, but we don't tell people that. A lot of our franchisees or our RDs, when they're hiring, are telling them, we'll start you at 18. No, that's not. They don't make 18. They always do those elevations in between. And in a 2-week pay period, they're going to hit those elevations. They'll never make that 17. So that's why we're discounting ourselves. We need to tell them the range that they're going to be. So if you're at 17, you add the 5 because they're going to be the hot stones.
Yep.
So that's 17 to 20, 17.
So that's your range that you're giving
so
them.
Depending on their experience, I'm looking at their resume, they're brand new out of school. 17 to 21 is what you're going to make. No, wait, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
So I don't do 17 so much, but then you've got the 18 to 24, the 19 to 25. So people are hearing that range. And so, but you do get caught up. I thought you told me I was making 21. That was my last. I said, you're going to make 19, 21, and 24. They heard that middle. So now I do the range, and the range is so important. And talking with my new therapist that we just brought on board for Highlands Ranch 2 in this week, which has been super hard to recruit, it's that pay range. So you all need to do that pay range.
Yeah.
And then we added the cupping. So I told her, then on top of that, if I gave her that 19 range, she'll be 29 to 30, whatever the difference of.
Sure. The way that you pay your therapist, just to give some clarity to other folks, is based on the tenure. So if they've come out of school, they'll start at a lower rate than if they've had some experience, they start at a higher rate, right?
Right.
And also your differences are your Northern Colorado versus,
Yes.
more Denver
Right.
area because of cost of living.
Right.
So, and then that range is from that low end to the high end. The low end is whatever it is.
Right.
Plus whatever
The
elevations.
$5, you always want to add that hot stone in there. So that is going to be their range. So you add their 17 plus the 5, and that's their range.
Okay.
If you're going to start them at 18, so I know Texas and Florida, they might start them out lower because the cost of living is so different. So they might be still at 16. But you just give them that range.
Got it.
And they are so in love with that range because our competitors don't have that range. They have, you can do hot stones at Envy, but not everybody does. Well, guess what? At Massage Heights, everybody does. So that range is important.
That's good.
And that's just
advice.
it's been a huge difference, made a huge difference in how I'm hiring and catching them that first phone call before they get to that next interview and we lose them.
Got it.
Because that happens to all of us.
Yeah,
It's
that is really, really good insight. Anything else on that as far as recruitment goes or retention even? Do you do any bonuses for your therapist or do you
yes.
anything? Okay.
Highlands Ranch, we have to because of the pool and how many competitors are there. So we're at an $800 bonus for new therapists. Northern Colorado, no.
Okay.
As far as we pay that out through 6 months. The first 90 days, they'll get a portion of it, and then another 90 days, and then
Got it.
I think maybe it's 45 days. But if anybody needs that information, just call me.
Yeah.
But we pay that out so we can make sure that they stay with us for that 6 months and hope that in that 6 months they've built their clientele and that they stay.
How important it is, do you think, to onboard therapists with elevations training right from the get-go?
You have to.
Yeah.
There are times, and I know other people are like that with, I don't have enough time. I want to put them on Friday. So they'll just train them without those and then maybe wait till that Monday to get them trained. I mean, that's okay. It's if you're really in a rush, I know that that's hurt a lot of my therapists saying, I didn't get the right training. And so it's really important to train them from the beginning. Also, the training amount of times people ask me too, how long do you train your therapist? I train them 4 hours a day, 3 days. If they're from a competitor who knows the 50-minute hands-on, and then we'll maybe do 2 days of 4 hours each.
Yeah. So, and especially if you're giving them a range,
Right.
then they need to be able to perform the
Exactly.
elevations. So that's super critical. They're not going to make the range if they don't perform the elevations.
Exactly.
So we got to deliver on our promise to onboard them appropriately.
Right.
True. So, yeah. So that's really good insight as well.
The other thing too is I try to get all my because you can't really know when you're going to have a therapist contact you. I try to do my do the interviews as soon as possible, get them in that day, maybe the next day, and then I will get them onboarded and get them trained by a couple of my other therapists that I have as leads so that they will take a couple hours out of their time. So if anybody needs information on how I train, they can contact me too.
Yeah. Well, just tell me about that a little bit.
How we train?
Yeah, elaborate.
So we at each location we have Centera we have I think 5 leads.
Okay. You have 6 leads at Centera?
I think we have 5 or 6.
Okay.
And then we have one of our manager therapists who's been with me since I've opened, Tara. And she, so we try to, we're talking about 2 different places. So it's Highlands Ranch, I think, is going to fit everybody. So with Highlands Ranch, I have 2 lead therapists. And I will do the interview on the phone. And then if I feel like they're good enough, I will find out. First of all, they all have to work a weekend day. I will not hire them.
Okay, good.
I will not. They can go find another, it's just we have to have our weekends or we're hiring for nothing. Not only that, if you start with one therapist and give her all Monday through Fridays, you're going to lose all your weekend people. So I've had 2 therapists. Oh, Lisa, can I come back? I just want to work Monday through Friday. No, thank you. I'm sorry. It's just, you just can't do that. And so that's kind of how we start. I find out what they're needing, what they're wanting, and then I tell them what I need. Okay, well, I need Sundays. And they'll tell me, well, I don't want to work Sundays. Well, then I'll have to look and I'll get back to you. But Saturday, if they'll take a Saturday or a Sunday, then I'll hire them. The last 2 people I hired, they want to work Wednesday through Monday. Or Wednesday through Sunday, sorry.
Okay.
They want to do 1 to 9s.
Awesome.
So how I do that is I get them in, and then the next day I will get 2 of my leads and get them to come in early so that they can start the training. They'll watch the videos, and then the second day is when we'll work on the 4 hours because it's easier. But I get on it. You don't want to hire them Wednesday and then start them Monday. You will lose them.
Yep.
You want to hire them Wednesday, start them Thursday. Unless they have another job, they have to give their 2 weeks too.
Sure.
But you still want to kind of get them trained in that 2 weeks while they're giving their 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because that way they're still invested.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait the 2 weeks. So that's kind of how we do that, and then they're ready to go.
Yeah. Is there anything more about therapist recruitment or retention that you can share that you get questions about?
Well, with the retention, I feel like it's if you're good to them and you're available, whether it's the RD or the owner, I think that's important. Is if they have questions. I had a text message from one of my therapists in Highlands Ranch that I have to get back to him within the next hour. But we just have to be there for them. And I feel like if they have that family value, or if you're not a hands-on owner, have your RD trained to be that way.
Yeah. And
that will keep the retention. But you don't want to give in to their every wants and needs. Hey, I'm not going to work weekends anymore. Well, that's a big deal to a lot of the owners, and I've had that happen in Highlands Ranch. It doesn't happen in my other 2 locations because we've grown that for 10 years, and we do it the same way. So we're trying to implement that in Highlands Ranch, and they're accepting it. It's just we still have a couple of them that are, well, I don't want to work weekends anymore. Well, then you know what? I can't keep you.
Yeah.
So but here's the big thing that I think every strategic partner needs, or RDs, give them options. Wanting weekends off, you have to give them an option of, hey, then can you work the weekend before? We want to make sure that we always have the weekends made up, and that's how we've always been, and it works really well.
Do you have them find somebody to cover the shift for them, or how do you generally manage that?
There's 2 different therapists. We've got our therapists who are fully booked, 5 days a week. If they want a weekend day off, their clients aren't going to see another therapist. So we will honor that. If they want to not make it up, then they're going to be short those 5 clients, and I give them the numbers of how much money they lost that day.
Yep.
And they're going to make it up somewhere else. And so those therapists who've been with me for years, who have, 70 to 80% request, they work the weekends, but if they want to take them off and they don't want to make up the day, then they just lose that money.
Yep.
And it's over $250 a day. My therapist that I'm talking about really work 8 to 12-hour shifts. So they're losing a lot of money.
Oh, wow.
Now, on the newer therapists who aren't so much requested, they will have to make up. So we give them the option of which Saturday they want to. So if they work every Saturday and they want that Saturday off, do you want to work the Sunday after or the Sunday before?
Got it.
They have to.
Yep.
And they'll pick. So giving everybody options and being consistent with them and not giving other people what I don't want. And, she favors him. No, the rules are all the same.
Yep.
In fact, one of my seasoned therapists is like, you give everybody, better privileges. I said, no, you get to have a weekend day off if you want it, and you don't have to make it up.
Mm-hmm.
I favor them more so because I don't make them. So I hope I'm not confusing people.
Yeah. No. That makes a whole lot of sense. And the message is consistency in everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And really just kind of, you have to draw the line somewhere. You have to say, look, this is what's important to our business. We know that weekends and evenings are the times that consumers want to come in. And so that's when we need you to work. Right? So
the other thing that I think I would suggest to strategic partners, and we kind of do this already, is if they work both weekend days, then you want to pay them higher. Give them an extra $1. And if they decide to go back to just one day in the future, then you can take maybe 50 cents away. But pay them more if they're both weekend days.
Got it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And you give them that extra $1, and it makes a difference because they're excited about that too.
That's awesome. That is really great advice. Very, very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shane.
I know you're always willing to help,
Yes,
and we are all so appreciative. And that's evident. It's not something that you say; it's something that you do, and you do it on a regular basis. So.
Thank you, Shane.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So that wraps it up today with Lisa Moore. Hopefully we'll get 2 or 3 segments out of today's recording. And I know we're going to get some good stuff out of it. You shared some really, really good nuggets. You really did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And hopefully it wasn't too fast.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Thank you for joining today. Now that you've heard from us, we'd like to hear from you. If you'd like to have a special guest on the podcast, or you've got some specific questions that you would like to have answered, please email us at communications@massageheights.com. You need to go ahead and like and subscribe to the YouTube, because you don't want to miss this type of information. And as always, elevate the everyday.